Today's video is different to usual. Today we're testing new limits. So I usually have Optimum Nutrition pre-workout, which is blue raspberry, 175 milligrams of caffeine, and I also have the ABE pre-workout, which I believe is to have about 150 milligrams. However, I have gone online. I have managed to find myself something called Yeti juice, and it has 250 milligrams of caffeine, 2,000 milligrams of beta-alanine, aniline per scoop. So why not push it? And it says for experienced lifters to have 2 scoops. I mean, I'm in there every day. I might as well. Why not? Let's do 2 scoops. Will I regret that? I'd say I very much did. I didn't even manage to finish it. It was that strong. There's me just showing off the nutritional information right there. But, you know, also let's have a monster as well, you know? That's not enough, like, in case it weren't enough. Oh. Oh, almost set. Oh my god. So today we're training back, and just one thing that I think is important to note is that the daily recommended dose as a maximum for an adult safely is to consume around 400 milligrams of caffeine per day. But we've got to break new limits. And in order to break new limits, you've got to break some rules, unfortunately. Starting off with some lat pull down. And we're just going to go for the usual warm-up weight today. And that is 45 kilograms. I didn't want to rush it. I didn't want to go straight in there, you know. I'm aware that I'm under the influence of more than most amount of caffeine. Too much, if anything. So I started off and I was like, I'm not going to ruin the workout by pulling something or by not properly warming up. So I went to meet in the middle and didn't go for 52. Thought I'd be a bit overdoing it. So I started with 45 just for a good quality warm up there. This is just so I can focus on the form and ensure that I get a good pump and make sure that I don't hurt myself, as these are important and integral to having a good workout. And the weight felt alright, you know. And I think that's the most important bit. Making sure that you warm up properly so that you are ready for the session ahead. As you can see, I'm keeping hydrated. I've got some water in my hand, which is something that I don't take as seriously as I should. Myself personally, I don't drink enough water. They say you should drink between 2 and 3 litres, I think, per day. And that's equal to about 8 glasses of water. But simply, it's quite hard to meet, especially when you are so busy or got different things going on. Moving the weight up now. First working set. Make sure you get those grips right with those wrist straps. I believe this is 66 kilograms. It's flying up way too quick. Way too quick. Getting those sets in, I suppose. Already I'd started to feel it. You know? Just feeling on edge. But saying that, That's probably the effects of the pre-workout, feeling on edge. There can be some severe side effects to taking too much caffeine. Those including anxiety, rapid heart rate, digestive stress, jitters, headaches, irritability, and even insomnia. On a more serious note, on top of those, if they weren't serious enough, consuming over 1,200 milligrams or more can lead to caffeine toxicity with symptoms including severe nausea, vomiting, chest pain, agitation, irregular heart rate rhythms. Things which should not be taken lightly during extraneous exercise, such as working out in the gym or running or any type of sport which raises your heart rate. Caffeine and exercise, overexertion should not be mixed and do not go well together. But then saying that, if it were not for people like me who are stupid enough to try it, then we wouldn't have the content of which you're watching right now. So while the risks are there, I'm aware of what I'm getting involved in, and I have superseded 400 milligrams before. This is not the first time, and it probably won't be the last either. The most I've ever consumed, I think, was 1,500 milligrams, which is just entering that range of potential toxicity. I do not recommend it. I had a lot of serious side effects. Starting to see some major struggle. Pushing for those last sets. And to me, without straining anything, that was as close to failure as I could get. I wanted to be ready for the next. There's me moving it off now. Thinking some single arm lat pull down now. Every back day, it's always the same. Just get that deep stretch. For me, this is where I strive. I think doing these 2 back exercises really gets me fired up, ready for some bent over barbell rows. That's just me personally. Dropping the weight for some single arm push down, as you can clearly see, there is some struggle. Starting on 32 kilograms, and you can clearly see there. As you see, getting that full stretch, pulling, making everything count. This for me is what I think builds the roundness in the back. Is this exercise. You can see that pull, that stretch all the way up. Twisting my arm at the top, pulling down all the way back. Moving on to bent over barbell rows, and this one is a fundamental, and by this point I was feeling the caffeine has started kicking in. I could feel myself slightly itching, just that little bit, and feeling strong. It's a very weird way to describe when you're under the influence of caffeine, but for me, I can feel like I can see. My eyes feel very tense. Warming up, 40 kilos. Wrists facing outward. It's just a personal preference for me. Allows me to get that deeper stretch of the lat. Adding 5 aside now, going up to 50 kilos. And I think the good thing about the gym is that sometimes you really get into one exercise and then that is your exercise, and that's your exercise for the next couple of months that you just look forward to every single week. And for the past 8 weeks maybe, for me that's been bent over barbell rows for me. It allows me to get that tree shaped look and really shape my back personally. It's something that I look forward to every single time. Little can you see right now that I'm changing my grip. I am now facing my wrists towards me. I wonder if I'll notice that. Setting it right up, setting it right up. Ready? Ooh, goes to lift it. Goes to lift it. Oh, we're switching up the grip. Clearly, I wasn't getting that stretch and thought I got to change it. Just trying to get that pump, that feeling. And I was itching. Now, more than ever, I can start to feel myself itch now. And it was really bugging me. Really bugging me. Along with my calluses, something that's really bugging me lately during my workouts is my calluses. And they're getting worse, which it makes sense. I've been in the gym every day. I missed 3 days last month. And I just felt really liable, you know? Taking some self-accountability, some reflection. But equally, 3 days out of 31. That's 29 out of 31. As a percentage, that's over 90%. If you can perform 90% of the time, that's pretty successful. That's pretty good going. And recovery too. I mean, if you are not well enough, if you are not in fit enough ability to produce a good session, then you probably shouldn't go. And as someone that will go, even when they're not feeling 100%, you know your personal limit. You know when too much is too much. You know when you're pushing yourself and you're just going to burn out. It's something that comes with time. If you're not a consistent goer and you just go once a week, twice a week, which is nothing wrong with that. Everyone's goals are different. But if your goal is consistency, then the more you go, the more experience you have with knowing when and where an excuse is an excuse, or if an excuse is valid. $20 kilos aside, that makes it 60. And I've done quite a few sets already of rows today. But for me, the volume is there. And while it's not entirely going to be giving the best results, it's not quite optimal. But when it comes to the back has so many muscles and they're all very small. I think fatiguing the muscle helps with my development of my back personally, because it allows the other muscles then to work and develop alongside that. Once one is worn out, the other one takes over, and you feel that. You just feel it. It's just a feeling that you get. Setting up ready, back to the inverted grip. Wrists away from me. Getting that stretch. getting out that anger. And yeah, I'm swinging slight little bit. In recognition of that, I am swinging a little. But I'm feeling it in my back. I've got it. The pump has been achieved. I'm feeling hot. The sweat is dripping. I am in the zone now. I can feel it. The music's blaring in my headphones. I am ready to go. And that's what it's all about for me. That's what gets me up in the morning. That's what motivates me to go every single day, day in, day out. It's the chase, the thrill of chasing after something and then getting it. Add in a 5, that's 70 kilos. It's a 70 kilo row. One too many times I haven't used clips, and it has not benefited myself. It tends to be that I don't end up re-racking it and then the weight falls on the side, or one side pushing to failure is higher than the other and then the weight's rolling. And that's how you get injured. So when I use more than 3 plates, typically, I will try to use a clip just for security. And I mean, the weight on addition isn't quite quantifiable. I mean, I haven't personally myself gone and used Google to find out the average weight of a clip, because does it really matter at that point? You're reading into it way too deeply, I think. But I just tend to go without it, tend to go without the clips and just roll, because again, it's just a personal preference. I feel like, especially when it comes to things like, off topic of back, but on topic of biceps, preacher curls. If I have the clips on the preacher curl, I have to be in dire need or feel like I have some stabilization to be able to do that, because for me, it just creates an imbalance. It creates a major imbalance and I cannot focus. So I typically never use clips when using preacher curls for that reason alone. But here, simply, the positives outweigh the negatives. Fiddling way too much. Way too much. Set up, ready position. Let's go. Leaning into it and a solid 8. That weight I was quite surprised at that, because I'm usually struggling with that weight. But that felt alright, you know? If it's 8 up the weight, but at the same time, I never get 8 on that. 70 kilo rows, getting 8, no problem. I haven't done that in weeks. Maybe I'm not giving myself enough time to rest between workouts. Training back every other day. Tuesdays and Thursdays. Tuesdays and Fridays. And now, just having a nice look. Let's have a look at the work, see if it's paid off. Prepare yourself, sit tight, because this is quite a long pause off. Longer than usual, I'd say, anyhow. But a solid pump, nevertheless. That upper shelf is defined. Cheeky side pause. And the other. And I'm seeing some definition that I haven't seen before. And it's looking very solid. The foundation is there. Lat spread. And you can see that tree in the middle. Didn't fully go all out on that lat spread. Could have been a bit better, I think, personally. We going for another? No. Double bicep, back double bicep. And again, a bit more, just playing with the lighting now. Doing some proper pausing. And that is pretty solid. Pretty solid right there. I was quite happy with that. You can see my traps. And the shoulders coming through. All three, you can see the division between the side, the rear and the front. And to me, that's looking quite good. So we can move on from back now. You know, 3 exercises, way too many sets on bent over barbell rows. But we move on. We keep pushing through. And we're moving on to shoulders. Starting off with some shoulder press. And I could use machine shoulder press, which I know other people tend to prefer using the machine. But for me, just to get that front delt, just fatigued a little, but also like stronger. I think you need to use free weights. That's just me personally. Everyone responds differently. But for me, free weights just doesn't compare. Doesn't compare to free weights. I feel like that builds strength that is applicable outside of the gym and beyond that, rather than just having a muscular build that cannot be used anywhere else, because that's just show muscle. So, well, I may be lifting lighter. You know, we're using 14s, which isn't particularly the heaviest weight in the world. It's about building that foundation. And, I mean, I'm 18 years old. We have plenty of time to work on those things. And I think that's an important thing to note, you know. There's plenty of time. 16s. Now we're moving on to some good weight for me personally. No hesitating, no fussing, straight to the point. 1 warm-up set, 2 working sets, increasing the weight if it's 8 up the weight. Showing off these cat assists now that I was talking about earlier, because they were really bugging me. And they're still there now as we record this. We've got dumbbell 8s. I'm thinking lateral raises. But equally, this is going to be a superset. There's mixed opinions out there on supersets, but for me, easy curl bar behind the head and then lateral raises. That for me is unmatched. I've mentioned this before, but I've taken that for inspiration from someone else's workout. But that that for me, just, it really fatigues you and you really get that pump. And that's it for me. What more can you ask for? I mean, whether or not it is the exact way, that is going to build that or not, this what works every time for me, and I see notable progress. Straight in after those lateral raises, straight into that exercise. Little break, grab a dumbbells, controlling your breathing, in and out, in and out. And there's two ways you could use lateral raises. You can bend your arms slightly, as I am doing so right now, or you can keep your arms straight and go straight up at that side delt angle. And I feel like as long as there's no particularly right way to do it. There are mixed opinions, but I feel like as long as you vary every 4 to 6 weeks, personally, that's what I stick to. I vary between the both, whereas I probably should stay consistent with one, but sometimes you just got to feel what the muscle feels. And if your body's telling you no, and you're just feeling strained, or you don't feel like you're actually actively working the muscle, then I don't think that that's going to lead to effective muscle gain. It's not going to lead to any additional strength down the line. I feel like you're just fatiguing yourself or potentially putting yourself at risk to hurt yourself. So listen to your body. I think that's something that's very important. You listen to your body, because you only get one body. You only get one life. So I think it's essential and fundamental that you do what's right for your body. And there are a lot of different ways that people train. People train for strength. People train for muscle. People train for agility. People train for stamina. But whatever your goals are, as long as you're effectively working towards them, then no one else can say anything or have an opinion upon that. Unless it's constructive criticism. In that case, I am all for it, providing that you have enough knowledge to assist and guide others. I'm throwing them up at this point. The form's gone out the window. Failure's been achieved. What was that, like 4? 3 even? And just finish it off as best as I can to lay it to rest until tomorrow. Leaving nothing on the table as we leave, which is essential. Getting it all out there. And I've left a bit more pausing in today than any other video so far, and today I spent longer than I probably should have, but the pump was pumping and I was itching to get out of that top. Absolutely itching. That beta alanine, it felt like spiders are crawling all over me. All over me. Good bicep pump, good shoulder pump. You could see, when you do exercises relating to your shoulders, tends to be your arms are also working. Front double bi. Back shining. Clear as day. Good definition. All around today has been an absolute success, and while it is not entirely the most efficient way to get a pump, abusing caffeine like that, if it's not something you're always doing, for me, I was like, that's justifiable. I can get away with it. And getting that top off now, just stop itching, if you will, and the pump was insane. And you can really see my shoulders, the veins that were coming out today. I was quite impressed. It was the first time I'd seen that. And I was thinking about how far I'd come in the past year. As we mark 6 months throughout the year, I was thinking, wow. Until tomorrow.